Hey folks, how you doing? Today I want to make a video just taking you along with me as I fertilize my outdoor potted plants and a few annuals I have in the ground as well. And this video is more for people new to gardening, you know, just as a basic just what it looks like and a little bit about it. So if you've been fertilizing plants for a while, this may not be for you. I've got hummingbirds floating around here. So what I wanted to say was most potting mixes have some fertilizer built into them. And then after time, because you water potted plants so often, the fertilizer that's in the soil gets leached out and there's none left. And because a lot of the potting mixes are made with inorganic materials like vermiculite, they don't create nutrients like if you put something in the ground. So eventually you're going to want to start fertilizing your plants. Now another reason to fertilize plants is if you just want to have big, full, giant pumpkins, giant flowers, healthy looking plants. Obviously if you fertilize them, they're going to look a lot better than if they just survive off the nutrients in the ground already. So I just read the box, and with the stuff I use, it recommends starting your fertilizing 30 days after you plant something. Some of the modern potting mixes have a longer term fertilizer in there. So I really can't give you a hard and fast rule of when to start fertilizing. But if you're looking for really lush, healthy looking plants, start fertilizing, and then if you overdo it, I guess you can always cut back. Obviously, if your plants start to look yellow, if they're not flowering as much, then you would want to fertilize. But after 30 days, again, the box says, or I've got some plants here that have been in the same pots for years. So as soon as you take them out, if you overwinter some plants, as soon as you take them out and put them outside, you're going to want to start fertilizing. And another thing is the container says to fertilize every 7 to 14 days. And again, that's really up to you. The more often you fertilize, the quicker the plants are going to grow. The less often they'll grow slower. It's kind of one of those things you'll just play it by ear. I've never done fertilizing every week until this year, and I gotta say I kind of like it because I can see the plants are really a lot more full and lush than when I was fertilizing every 2 weeks. And the final thought I just want to give about fertilizing is if you're fertilizing an outdoor potted plant, here in zone 6, where we'll get up to the low 90s, high 90s in the summer, you're watering your potted plants daily, so you're leaching a lot of those nutrients out of the soil. So the reason you're fertilizing every 7 to 14 days is basically because you're fertilizing so much that you're leaching all those nutrients out, so you want to replace them. So again, that's another reason why you might want to try every 7 days and see how that does, because I really do personally like the look of things with being fertilized every 7 days. What I use to fertilize with is this Miracle-Gro, which is a water-soluble fertilizer. And it says right on the box, feed every 7 to 14 days. And I just wanted to read the side here. So it says, for best results, feed every 7 to 14 days when plants are actively growing. And then it also says, it says to use Miracle-Gro soil. And then for spectacular results, 30 days after planting and Miracle-Gro soil, begin feeding regularly with the fertilizer. So that's where I think the Miracle-Gro soil, or every potting mix is different, but a lot of them do contain some fertilizer to get the plant started, but eventually that fertilizer is going to leach out of the soil. So that's when we're going to go to this water-soluble fertilizer. And then here also it says, indoor plants, mix a half a teaspoon, the small end of the enclosed scoop, per gallon of water every 2 weeks. And then outdoor plants is 1.5 tablespoons, the large end of the enclosed scoop, per 1.5 gallons of water in a watering can. And for best results, soak the soil at the base of the plant every 7 to 14 days. So basically the way that this comes, and I got this at BJ's, it was probably less than $20 like 2 years ago. It's probably something between $20 and $25 now, if you find it on sale. But I bought this a couple years ago, and it comes in these 2 sleeves where you just can open one. There's 4 sleeves inside this big sleeve, and I just open them up one at a time, and I put them in this little container here because it's easier to use. And if I had a wider container that I could get into better, I'd use it. And the stuff comes with this little scoop. So basically for indoor plants, you use this side of the scoop. For indoor plants, half a teaspoon, the small end of the scoop, per gallon every 2 weeks. And then for outdoor plants, this is 1.5 teaspoons to 1.5 gallons every 7 to 14 days. So what I'll do is I'll just dip it right in there and store my fertilizer here because it's easier. What I've got over here is I actually keep 2 different color watering cans, and this green one here, this darker green one, I use for the bird baths as well. So I never mix fertilizer in this one, so we're just going to put this one aside. And this is the watering can we actually use for fertilizing plants. And one thing I just want to talk about briefly is the modern watering cans have very small openings, and you really want to have a nice big opening on your watering can because it's easier to clean out. Like when leaves fall in there, it's easier to clean them out, but it's also easier to put the scoop in there and even to get the hose in there as well. So if you're shopping for a watering can, look around and see if you can find one with a nice wide open top. So what I do is I just put the hose in the bucket here in the watering can. I have my fertilizer over here. I have this little shelf I built into my hose holder. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and start the water. And then, I'll just dip my hand in here and take a heaping scoop. And with a little bit of water already in there, we'll just dump it in. And then as the watering can fills, it's going to mix. And I can also dip my fingers to get off any fertilizer I got on my fingers. And I just use a heaping scoop because I know my watering can is more than 1.5 gallons. And that could be part of the reason that I'm having better results fertilizing more often, because I would have to say this is at least 2 gallons, if not 2.5 gallons. But basically, we just mixed up a watering can full of fertilizer, so we can go ahead and water the plants now. What I'll do with my potted plants is I'll just go ahead and give them a good dose of water, fertilizer and water, but then what I like to do is go back and basically give them 2 good soakings. I mean, I'm not being stingy. I'm letting that pot really fill up. And over here, the water doesn't leak out as well as I'd like. I need to clean the hole at the bottom. So I've got a little fertilizer left over. So I've got some petunias down here and some Calibrachoa, so we'll just dump it on there. So I don't know if you guys can see into the pot or not, into the watering can or not, but you know, there's a little bit of residue from the fertilizer in there, and that's okay. So we'll just go ahead and start the process again. And you kind of get into the flow. And at some point, you know, the applicator here may have like a ton of fertilizer sticking to it. So just go ahead and put it under the hose in the watering can and wash it off. But just make sure it's completely dry before you put it back in there, or it's just going to basically end up having more fertilizer sticking to it. But that's all we do is we start the water, we put the fertilizer in. When we get near the top, we turn it off. And then what I'll do is I'll just go back and water everything that I just watered a second time and just give them a good soaking. I mean, fill the pot until it overflows. We're gonna fill this pot again and just, it's liquid, so if it's too much water, it's gonna drain out. You see how it's kind of draining out the bottom on that one, and it's kind of draining out the bottom on that one. So that means we definitely saturated the soil. So now we can come back and hit these two again as well. And this one, you know, again, the hole in the pot is the hole in the pot on this one is not open all the way, and I need to clean that out. We've still got a little bit of fertilizer left in the watering can, so we'll go ahead and water my sidewalk petunias with the fertilizer as long as we're here. All right, and then we're back again, and I don't know if you folks can see or not, but there's still a little bit of residue from the fertilizer in there, and that's okay. Turn the hose on, put the fertilizer there, and I got a heaping scoop. We're just gonna go ahead and dump that in and let her fill up. I don't really go nuts trying to turn the hose on all the way. I just give it like a half turn. That's enough. You know, it's not super fast to fill up, but it's as fast as necessary. And I just try to enjoy the process as opposed to get her done. So there we go. We got another watering can there. All right, and then with these bedding plants here, these petunias, I'll just kind of go around and just soak the soil around them. I don't leave the water breaker on the watering can unless I'm watering like a new seedling or a new lawn, because the water comes out so slow. But we're just going to go ahead and moisten the soil around all these petunias, and I will probably go through 3, if not 4 watering cans on this one grouping of petunias here. So eventually you'll just kind of get into a rhythm, and it's not really like work. I mean, you're just going for a walk around the yard, you're admiring the garden, and it's kind of peaceful to be out here. And so you'll just keep doing this again and again until you get them all done. And it really does make a difference in how your plants look. I do just want to make a note here that I try to stop filling my watering can you know, 2 or 3 inches below the top, so I'm not spilling fertilizer all over my clothes. I just wanted to show you my elephant ears here, and I've had these in the same pots for probably 3 years now. Elephant ears need 2 things to survive and thrive. One is they like soil that's going to be moist all the time, or if they're in a pot, you know, water the pot daily. And 2 is they love, love, love fertilizer. So the elephant ears have been just taken off since I have started fertilizing more often. And I will go through 2 watering cans of fertilizer for just these 3 pots. To make sure that I saturate the soil with nutrients so they can be happy little campers there. So that's going to do it for this one, folks. I just wanted to show you briefly how easy it is to fertilize plants. It's not a big deal, and it's actually kind of enjoyable unless you're carrying around a camera and a lavalier mic. It gets a little bit more tricky. And if at the end of fertilizing you've got some fertilizer in your hands, it's water soluble. So just run your hands under the hose, get it off. You'll be perfectly fine. But for watering outdoor potted plants, I just wanted to go over once again that what I'll do is all pots will basically get filled to the top or filled generously 2 times to make sure that the soil really soaks the fertilizer in. And then if you have any bedding plants, I'll basically just give them a good heavy watering with the watering can. And I can't really tell you what a good heavy watering is, but I'll say too much is better than too little. You really want to soak those nutrients into the soil. So that's pretty much going to do it for this one, folks. Please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe for more content like this, and leave a comment if you like. Let me know how your plants do, how often you fertilize. Thanks for watching, folks, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.